a brand new month, the month of March. Today is the second day in the third month in the year 2026. Thank you so much that you always make the time to join us every Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays for Diamond Live. This is a show that gets to break down the day's biggest news stories. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
And I'm Cheswa, Peter Kapasa. Thanks a lot for making time. It's a Monday. Again, back to work, Andrew. It's a brand new month. And, of course, yesterday was the International Children's Day of Broadcasting. I don't know. I don't know when you started TV.
You just so you know, because I think when I started doing TV,
children were.
I was when I started doing TV when I was young. You were you were an old man. I remember those days at movie TV. I would come. So you were a big man too then. I don't know how.
My 40 years old, sir. but
it's a funny thing, because yesterday was International Children's Day of Broadcasting, and now that you've mentioned it, it just brings a lot of memories.
I mean, it does, because
for people that might not know, myself and Cheswa Kapasa are a product of movie, television. That's where we started from. I found him. I was young. I was a child when I joined movie TV. The man was a big man. I don't know what happened along the process.
What are you saying about people like Mr. Chimweka, who we also found as a very
as a baby
young man starting there? But it's good to see that those children, that were participating yesterday. But aside that, I think there's been quite many things happening in the news over the weekend, over last week, and now into a brand new week. And, well, we'd like to start the show with Today in a Snap.
Well, thank you so much for still staying with us. One of the biggest news stories from today is the fact that the Labour Commissioner, Givens Muntengwa, is appealing to the Immigration Department to strip off the work permits of two Chinese men seen in this viral video, indecently assaulting a female employee at ZamFresh, a Chinese-run company right here in Osaka. Now, addressing management when he visited the company this morning, Mr. Muntengwa has condemned the act, stating that no woman should be forcibly touched or searched by men at a workplace. He emphasized that the incident sends a wrong signal about Zambia's respect for labor laws and urged due process in handling workplace grievances. Mr. Muntengwa said that such behavior will not be tolerated, adding that locking the door to the room where the woman was constitutes forced imprisonment. Meanwhile, company general consultant Karen Kayuni has acknowledged the wrongdoing but claimed the woman was trying to run away with money and that the door was locked to prevent others from entering and taking the money. This is the report.
Two Chinese nationals at ZamFresh, a Chinese-owned company in Lusaka, faced possible revocation of their work permits after a video went viral showing them physically assaulting a female employee who is reportedly suspected of stealing over 14,000 kwacha. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security visited the company to assess the situation, and Labour Commissioner Givens Muntengwa has condemned the treatment, warning that locking her in a room amounted to unlawful confinement. The ministry has also fined Sunshare Group of companies 160,000 kwacha for failing to issue contracts and payslips to its employees. It has also suspended operations at Sunshare Investments.
Meaning that their permits to be revoked, because we don't want you to create a narrative in the labor sector that what happened can happen and can be done to any employee. We are saying no, and we must send a strong signal. And the strong signal is whoever does that must be kicked out of the country. We must get rid of bad elements in the labor sector. The labor sector is not for fights. Because they don't have that, here we are suspending operations because it's dangerous. You know, it will happen that immediately after we leave, then someone is involved in a terrible accident.
And the company's general consultant, Karen Kayuni, acknowledged that the actions were wrong, but however notes that it was an attempt to prevent others from interfering.
So why did they lock them?
She tried to run away and take the money on the counter. Then the money fell. It was also...
I didn't see the money for them.
Yes, no, that one is in the yes. So when the money started coming out, they were afraid that people, because of the chaos, will come and enter in the office and start getting the money, or they might do something inside. So they moved the money inside, and because of the noise, the Chinese were inside were also afraid, and then decided to lock.
Labor authorities have urged companies to uphold professional standards, warning that any abuse of employees will face strict consequences. Niza Vomo, Diamond News.
Well, that's the story from today. A very interesting, setup there, because this is someone that has stolen money, wants to run away with the money that they've stolen. And then the employers, in wanting to ensure that you don't run away with the money, they hoard you. So now the Labour Commissioner comes and condemns that. I don't know what you think. I don't know how, if you're an employer, how you would deal with such an issue, Cheswa, where someone has clearly stolen money, they're of the opposite sex, and they're trying to run away with that money. I don't know whether you would be in a position to do what the Chinese did.
What the Labour Commissioner is telling us that there was, first of all, unlawful confinement of someone. They should have called the police. Someone has committed a crime, they should be locked up. Stealing is a crime.
Yeah.
So stealing should not be tolerated either. But also assault, Andrew, trying to cause bodily harm on someone, despite whatever they have done, is also wrong. So if I'm also trying to do what is right using a wrong method, it doesn't make it right. I also think that there could have been many ways. I mean, they've got security. You could lock the gate, or you could have, perhaps locked someone there, but not sort of push them to the ground in such a manner. What people seem to be condemning is how it is seemingly. It looks like she was manhandled to the ground. I mean, she couldn't, breathe properly and so on. And again, some people feel like, look, this is someone who was stealing. A thief is a thief, and thieves must not be tolerated.
Yeah.
The right message there for many people was that the two Chinese nationals actually didn't even do anything wrong. They were just trying to hold this person until the police came. But again, that's subject to debate. Did they call the police? Was it right for them to pin her to the ground, and so on? But I think, Andrew, what really stands out for many employers should be how to solve labor disputes, because every worker, no matter how wrong, have rights to a certain degree. I mean, if you are going to summon me for something, you must follow procedure. I mean, if you're a thief and you steal from me, you must call the police to arrest me, not that I should take the law in my own hands. So
true.
I think that I'm glad that item seemingly is resolved by the Labour Commissioner there.
In more news, the Zambia Police Service has confirmed the arrest of Socialist Party leader and president Dr. Freddie Membe. In a statement issued in Lusaka, Police Public Relations Officer Godfrey Chilabi says Dr. Membe has been charged with the offence of harassment and humiliation contrary to Section 22, Part 2A and B of the Cyber Crimes Act number 4 of 2025. Police allege that on 26th February 2026, Dr. Membe made statements during a radio program on Kwitu FM, which was simultaneously streamed live on Facebook, and the Facebook page called Dr. Membe. He says the statement were allegedly vulgar and intended to humiliate the President of the Republic of Zambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Hakainde Hichilema. According to police, Dr. Membe remains in custody and is expected to appear in court soon. Mr. Shilabi says further updates will be provided as the matter progresses. I don't know if you've seen the video that has landed Dr. Membe in prison.
Yeah.
In custody, rather. He was featured on Kwitu FM and he was appealing to President Hakainde Hichilema to let the body of former President Edgar Lungu rest in peace. He held the view that the reason for why President Edgar Lungu hasn't been put to rest is because President Hakainde Hichilema is holding on to the body. Well, he used some Bemba there and some Nyanja, stating that Muleko Munobe Atushe, he wasn't your friend, so let him go and rest. He's been in the fridge for close to 9 months now, and that you mustn't insist, in wanting to view his body by all possible means. This is what has landed him, in detention. The police believe that this language was a bit strong and humiliating to the president, who is the chief, commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So this is what has landed him, in detention.
Well, political leaders really have to pay attention to what they say, Andrew, because I should not give opinions to whether his remarks or what he said was correct or wrong, but I think that it's not even about the period. I mean, it's in a very intense political period as we get to the polls. Some politicians will issue statements that will injure others, and some politicians will also just use rhetoric to try to drive an agenda. But I think what stands out also, Andrew, here is the fact that the country also needs this closure. They need to see that this matter is brought to a complete closure. But I think political leaders, whether in the opposition or whether in the ruling party, must be alive to the fact that there is a life involved of the former president, and how we push narratives, I think, must be pushed with a certain level of responsibility. And this is not to say whether Dr. Membe's words were wrong or they were right. It is just to say we're in a very political, intense moment, and anything that has to do with former President Edgar Lungu, the family is still injured, they haven't met closure, Zambians are still injured. And so we hope that, all of these court matters can really just come to a rest, and so that we could see our former president being put to rest. I think that's how far I can go with giving my opinion, really, because it's come out as a very, very hot matter, and so the way that you interpret it, really, you have to be careful with what you say.
Well, that's so true. There's a thin line between ensuring that your freedoms are protected, ensuring that nobody's curtailing you from expressing, your opinion. The Constitution guarantees freedoms of expression.
Absolutely.
And but obviously, like you rightly mentioned, I think even the way we express our opinions must be with responsibility, especially coming from respected political, leaders. But also, I think what is important is that even as we express our opinions, we must express our opinions with facts. All right. What are the facts of the matter here? Is it President Hakainde Hichilema holding on the body of former President Lungu? Are those facts? Those issues must be questioned, and so we really must be, like you rightly put it, we must be careful, in ensuring that as we talk about this very sensitive issue, the country hasn't come to a closure yet. The family still mourning the death of former President Edgar Lungu. And so our political leaders must really be very careful with how they bring out certain issues so as not to put the country
perhaps
on fire. Really.
Add a bit more context. I mean, when you say someone is holding on to the body, like you rightly put it, perhaps leaders also need to add a bit more context to what they're saying. I mean, narratives, the way that you push narratives must be a little more clear, because the opposition are blaming the President Hakainde Hichilema that he's the one who's delaying. I mean, you heard the speaker in Parliament say, I think that there was a question from a material member of Parliament suggesting to the speaker that President Hichilema did not, in the speech on the application morals on the presidential speech in Parliament, at no point did President Hichilema mention on what the progress around the burial of President Lungu was. So there you could tell that the speaker suggested that in fact the leaders from the PF are the ones that must even play a major role in bringing this matter to a close. So I think people are really tired of this matter, and I mean it's really a concern. Zambians really would love to see their former president laid to rest. I think that it's really been long overdue, and we hope that there's something really that comes out in the best interest of the country at the end of the day.
Nalolo Member of Parliament Honorable Wamunyima Imanga is our guest on tonight's edition of Diamond Live. He joins us right after this.
Iwe, ndiye ibeva we mkashana kaboyo kubuturuke efikwatini tute. Make up. Now Ishiva, inedionsenga ndea kuchalo nda making sure at ninchita moisturize skin nimpopoka. Mbomfia Romeo glycerin. Ukupopoka chani.
Action!
Romeo for naturally pure, radiant skin.
Welcome to an electrifying new epic of agricultural shopping. Nestled in the bustling Lusaka showgrounds, the Nemkim Agri Division is more than just a store. It's the lighthouse of advancement, searching for top-notch biosecurity, cleaning, and pest control solutions. Attention! Local businesses, your quest ends here. Get ready for a thrilling journey in agricultural retail. The future begins at Nemkem Agri Division, your supermarket for superior quality. The revolution of agricultural shopping starts now. It's about empowering your business and nurturing your community. Call us today or visit our shop at the Lusaka Showgrounds.
5 kwacha. Go 99.
How much for a plate?
Everything is better with Bento. Bento noodles, full of unique flavor.
Meet Lucy, a dedicated professional. Her days are filled with meetings and deadlines, but there is one thing on her mind: getting motor insurance for her brand new car.
But I need to get my insurance done though.
As Lucy begins her car journey, excitement fills the air. But she knows there is something crucial missing: safety and protection. The fear of being pulled over by traffic police looms over Lucy. She dreads the complicated and time-consuming process of getting insurance. Will she find a solution? Enters MGen on my WhatsApp. Just a chat away, this service transforms the way you buy motor insurance. It's not just efficient, it's also extremely convenient. With MGen on my WhatsApp, Lucy can now focus on what truly matters: her journey, her ambition. Insurance simplified. Text HI to MGen on my WhatsApp to easily buy, renew, or validate your insurance. When it's worth it, it's worth talking about.
2, 3, and all my clothes are squeaky clean.
Quick to remove the dirt and stains, and the fresh breath remains.
Never seen nothing like it, that's exactly why I like it.
So whether color white or black, it brings a new right back.
Aloha. Aloha. Aloha.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that the wells can store many, many messages. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded your contact center yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
To know where we're going, we must remember where we're coming from. Boom. Never forget home. Transform your office, retail, or branch space with DSTV for Business. Add top entertainment at great value with one of our DSTV work packages, the Ultra or Essential, and create a welcoming and informative setting with cutting-edge news, business, sports, lifestyle, music channels, and much more. Contact us today and let our experts guide you in selecting the perfect package. When it comes to entertainment, DSTV for Business is your ultimate partner. The meaning of life is not to simply exist, but to move ahead. To rise up and achieve. To conquer. Introducing Kung Fu Energy Drink, your push for the next conquests. Kung Fu Energy Drink. Master the power.
Well, thank you so much for still staying with us. The phone lines are open, but also be a part of the program by sending messages on our Facebook page. We're streaming this program live on our Facebook page. That's at Diamond TV Online. Tonight on the program, we turn our focus to Zambia's evolving political landscape, constitutional reforms, and the realities of governance as the country heads towards the August general elections. Our guest is Wamunyima Imanga, Member of Parliament for Nalolo constituency, a prominent voice in the National Assembly, and a key figure in the recent constitutional amendment process. As chairperson of the technical committee that scrutinized submissions on Bill 7, he stood at the center of one of the most contested legal and political discussions in recent years. This evening, we discuss with him governance issues, political accountability, economic realities, and the road to August, while asking the big question, what kind of Zambia are voters preparing to choose on 13th of August 2026? Honorable, good evening. Thank you so much for making the time to appear on Diamond Live tonight.
Thank you, Andrew. Good evening, and good evening, viewers.
Where have you been?
Well, I've been around. I've been focusing mainly on constituency work and parliamentary work over. So I've been a bit away from interviews, and I just thought I should just consolidate, some of my parliamentary and constituency work. But I'm around.
Yep. As chairperson of the technical committee that scrutinized submissions on Bill 7, you did navigate a highly debated constitutional amendment. How was your experience, really, as chairperson? I remember one of the things that came out from that, from that process was on how some did take a bias, against you. They were saying that you highly supported the executive, arm of government during this process, that even the stakeholders that came to submit, you had your head was contested on one particular position that you wanted to achieve. Let's come to your experience and the views that people had. I remember very vividly that standoff that you had with the Law Association of Zambia President, Mr. Lungisani, Zulu, that went viral. And there was a thought that you are being, you are just being hard on the man, and all that. Let's come to that experience, because I think that is the last, issue that was highly debated around your name.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd just like to state, Andrew, that it was a great privilege to chair the Constitutional Amendment Select Committee appointed to scrutinize Bill 7, and it was a very daunting task. One of the, I could say, great responsibilities I've undertaken. I've chaired several select committees, but this was quite, challenging, because it bordered on a document which has a national character. To be honest with you, the outside issues that surrounded Bill 7 were projected by certain stakeholders, and I tried by all means to have an objective lens, because as a chairperson, my sole responsibility was to preside over hearing the submissions within the objects of the bill for and against. But just to get to the point, there was some criticism, some praises. There is no constitutional undertaking which is devoid of public opinion because of the sacred nature of the Constitution. Sufficient to say, we had instances, for example, like Laz, who came to the committee to present what they had already presented in court, which is challenging the process. And our mandate as a parliamentary committee, like any other committee, was to get submissions based on the objects of the bill. And I must state that Laz did a written submission on the objects of the bill, or clause by clause, which they refused to read. They instead opted to make a plea that it is withdrawn. And the committee is not a forum where you make pleas. You make submissions, because we are legislators, we are lawmakers. So it was emotive, but obviously we are past it. You will notice that in the public opinion space, nobody is debating the content of Bill 7. People are not debating the content of Bill 7. It also shows you that part of the proponents against Bill 7 may not really have had any reasonable contestations. This is past the committee, and when it comes to the passing of Bill 7 in Parliament, where we presented the larger views of stakeholders. So the issue was really outside the public domain, was process. But there was general consensus that the content is what has been subsequently proposed in the past by several commissions.
There was a common phrase that came out of that entire process, that process protects the content. Do you believe that process protects the content?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Was it a matter of concern for you that the key issues that people were talking about was actually the process that led to the birth of this particular bill?
Yes, so I'll give you an example. Any constitutional making process attracts national debate. And the whole process culminating to the bill being read in Parliament was a subject of various processes. We had a minority, and I dare say a minority, because just from the voting itself in Parliament, it shows you how issues of process were subsequently addressed. I feel that, for example, when you look at the Mkandile and the Munia Zulu, Celestine Mkandila and Munia Zulu case versus the Attorney General, I mean, the court was instructive to the executive, and the court was instructive to the executive a day after the president had already deferred Bill 7 for consultation.
Yep.
So when we say process protects content, one would wonder what process was not followed, because I feel that issues that were raised of additional consultation were addressed. You see, when the matter was closed, and after the Mushabati Technical Committee went around the country, collected submissions, the president received the report, and the Minister of Justice wrote back to Parliament to begin the process. Now, what do a few groups of people do? They take back the same case. So for me, you're right. Process is protected by content, and in my view, the minor gaps culminating in Bill 7 and now Constitutional Amendment Act number 13, I think they were addressed.
We had key stakeholders who are opinion leaders that highly criticized this, the bill. We had the church mother bodies, we had Oasis Forum, and the general citizen. Some, supported, but some equally didn't support, this whole process that culminated into us having, this law. As part of the key people that played a critical role into this process, do you think posterity would judge you harshly for the role that you played?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I would like to state that posterity judges people differently based on the outcomes. I feel that posterity will judge me fairly because Bill 7 has birthed the representation of minority groups at all legislative levels. The youth, the women, and people with disabilities. Bill 7 has birthed delimitation, and the loudest critics of Bill 7 have been calling for constituencies to be delimitated. So I'm very comfortable that posterity will not judge me from the political dissent, because what we had was political dissent. I will be judged based on the practical constitutional gaps that Bill 7 has addressed, because in the next National Assembly, it will be clear that the outcomes of Bill 7 will bear fruit. I mean, for example, you had, like State Council Johnson was saying, there's no need to, have more constituencies, there's no need for Bill 7. But then now he's saying Lusaka needs more constituencies. So, I mean, and I feel that democracy is represented by divergence, but the majority must win. So the majority of submissions by the stakeholders were in support.
Were you shocked, before Cheswa comes, were you shocked that there was overwhelming support around, Bill 7, because it received, overwhelming support during the vote? Were you shocked? Did you expect that?
Well, I was not really shocked, because there was a lot of consensus building in the process of the committees. And I'd like to give a good example. For example, members of parliament themselves appeared as witnesses. We had Honorable Mlenga Fube for Chilubi, Honorable Joseph Munsanje for Mbabala, Honorable Christopher Kangombe for Kamfisa. They made proposed amendments, which the committee considered in their report to, to the House, and also to the Minister of Justice, Honorable Princess Kasone, when she came as a final witness. So that showed that this time around, as opposed to previous constitutional amendment bills that have not succeeded, the executive was willing, to listen to what was perceived as clauses that would not stand in the interest. So I was not surprised, because most of these proposed amendments were considered. especially when it came to the electoral process. You know.
Did you hear of rumors of the fact that there was some form of incentivizing, for members of parliament to vote for Bill 7? We heard rumors of 3 million kwacha being given to members of parliament, and all that. Did this reach you?
Well, I heard of those rumors, and it's a stigma we carry. Why should members of parliament be paid for the job that they're elected to do? We're elected to legislate. I heard the rumors. I am aware, actually, that there was a lot of money released as a rumor, not as a fact, for people to go against Bill 7. No, not to support Bill 7, but to go against Bill 7. We've heard this, it's been in the public domain. 3 million kwacha, I think the members of parliament can speak for themselves. I think Bill 7 reached a stage where national interest took precedence over, personal and party positions. Because, look at this, Andrew. Mwanakatwe Constitutional Commission, 1993, proposed PR system. Mvunga, 2003, another PR system. The NCC, somewhere 2011 there, which was reviewing not Mvunga, Mungomba. 2003 was Mungomba. The NCC that was reviewing the Mungomba report so that they can come up with a report. Serious PR. So you have an issue that has been discussed from 1993. And people still say, there's not consultation, there's no more need for consultation, even when you have the Mshabati, the final. So you've had over 5-6 commission reviews recommending the same thing. And only this government, under this President Hichilema, have had the strongest political will to say, let's get this done. What are the issues? I think the people are invited to the discussing table, and this includes members of parliament, like I'm saying. So there was no need for incentive where the legislation is a national issue. Obviously, as a chairperson of the committee, perhaps one day we'll tell a greater story, but of course there was pressure to not support the process. The investment, for me, the investment should not be to support. I, on several occasions, indirectly, as a chairperson, received, I will not go into detail for this meeting, but I'll hint it, received a lot, of proposals not to support the process or to sabotage the process.
Does that include money?
Of course, people would have wanted to sabotage the process, but I did not entertain any engagement that would put me in a compromise. So,
were you approached?
Cheswa, you want me to hit the nail on the head?
Of course.
No. Of course, I did have conversations with a few people who felt that I should not support Bill 7.
Did they offer you money?
Well, I would say I wouldn't want to say money. I'm looking for the right term. A proposed gratification.
What was going to be the benefit for you? Because yes, they obviously came to you to sort of want that gratification you talk about, but there should have been some sort of.
No, look, this whole process was not about Bill 7. The debate around Bill 7 for me was about this government achieving a milestone, a constitutional amendment. It was not about the law being a bad law. It was about the manner Bill 10 fell, Bill 7 should fall. You get the point. So to not delve so much in what would be now, I would consider as something that was overcome. I would like to state that the actual investment was not to have Bill 7 pass. That is why you had so much litigation around Bill 7, unnecessary, frivolous litigation. you had a lot of. I'm sure if you follow social media, you did read a lot of posts on the PF page, particularly about me being attacked, me being this side. It shows you that it was not about the hype in terms of what should be discussed is not people being given money to support.
Is it true that you were promised a ministerial job by President Haka in December?
Not at all. That's the first time I'm hearing that. Has that been... Where did you get that?
For supporting this process and for you to lead this discussion, because already here you're stating that you managed to stand your ground against those that wanted for you to sabotage, this process. And obviously there must be a reward for you, by the executive. And we were told that they've been promised a ministerial job.
By who? Who told you?
Well, it's not for us to say who told us. It's for you to confirm if that is the case.
Now, look, let me give you let me explain this. The president has got nothing to do with who chairs the parliamentary committee. A select committee is appointed by the office of the speaker. And the speaker does that within the framework of the office of the speaker. This includes the institution of parliament. Now, it is a bipartisan. You have the PF, you have independents, all political parties. You have the NCP, Honorable Simon Banner. Now, it is the members. It is the members in the committee who elect a chairperson. So, at what point does the Republican president make promises to a legislative process? I'll be very honest with you. In the 5 years I've been at Parliament, it's not only the Select Committee on Constitutional Bill 7 that I chaired. Several committees, select committees for that matter, I have chaired. And I also chair some caucuses. So it's a leadership task. So you preside over the meetings.
Did this role that you have that you had as chairperson, did it influence how you voted for Bill 7?
No, because, in the committee, we were engaging with those who supported and those who opposed. And our main task as a committee was to scrutinize, the ramifications of amending this act.
And you had your own personal opinion about Bill 7, and that's me asking, from the submissions that you got, did they at any point influence the decision you ultimately made to either vote for Bill 7 or not?
Well, to an extent, you're right.
Did you vote yes for Bill 7?
Yes, I voted. I voted yes for Bill 7, and I was so happy to see the recommendations of the Mushavati Technical Committee from the people, that this is what we want. And for me, being the only youth in Parliament, in SADC region, we are the only country with one person below 35. We are also the only country with the least members of parliament in terms of geography. You go to Zimbabwe, there are about 16, 17 million, over 200 members of parliament based on an updated delimitation.
Yep.
Go to Malawi. So for me, while we executed our job, ultimately, as a position of the party I represent and myself, the people I represent, first of all, I was satisfied that we needed to
have the bill passed. What are the people of Nalolo telling you in terms of how they're feeling about the 4 to 5 years of the European government?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you this honest truth, is that, we had drought as a country, first of all, 1.5 or 2 years ago. And we had the same situation in 2019. The people of Nalolo from my engagement, feel that this is a government that has addressed crisis. Crisis, first of all, we talk about interventions during that time through various social programs. Secondly, the empowerment programs that are going through to the people through CDF are unprecedented. When you look at how many people have pupils that have gone back to school in Nalolo, after the introduction of free education, you have over 1,000, close to that. In the last 3 years, we have procured locally from Nalolo over 7,000 desks. So it tells you a story of what the situation. Now, let me not paint it all gloom. Obviously, governments are successive, but as we draw closer to elections, it is clear that the people feel that this government has delivered. Yeah.
Do you think it's like that across the country, or perhaps just for the people of Nalolo?
Well, it's subjective. I mean, like I've said, democracy is like a jungle. You will not go into the jungle and find only elephants. You have impalas, you have all sorts of lions. So I will be confidently affirming and asserting the voice of my people who I represent, who I engage with, and who I live among when I'm in the constituency. So I'm not so sure about the entire country. But my feeling is, that the indicators are plenty to point at.
The reason I asked you that question is because we don't live in a vacuum. We live with the people. Yeah. We interact. Even here, most of the time you spend actually here in Lusaka at Parliament, and interacting with the people of Lusaka. You speak of the indicators that are pointing in the right direction. The macroeconomic indicators, yes, you're right, are pointing in the right direction. Inflation is now single digit. The economy is growing by positive 5.2% and expected to grow by 6.2% as of December. We are seeing all these gloomy macroeconomic indicators. The exchange rate as well is one of the best performing in the world. But I think the big question, Honorable, is on how these indicators are not translating to the living conditions of our people. That yes, these are gloomy, but things on the ground don't look as gloomy as they look, at that level. But before you respond to that question, Honorable, we have a question from Ndola. Hello, good evening. Oh.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Andrew. Is that Andrew Mwansa calling?
Yes, machina ba Andrew.
Oh, okay.
Shan Mukwai.
Mulifia kuinu ba machina ba Andrew Mwansa.
Ndivyo mtende katwishwena.
Ndivyo mtende. Bwana Cheswa, good evening.
Good evening ba Mwansa.
Penta Mukwai. Ona de bo mwa bombashani mwa barishani Mukwai.
Yeah, Mukwai nishani.
Yeah, Mukwai. Kwenda na raranda kwa mchwemba.
Ndite.
Hanza mwa nation.
Mukwai. Ba Andrew ndefa munji pusha kuri baona lebo. Ndezi bukisha kwaliyo bapangire komiti ya Bill 7. Kwaliyo kubare pitana, bare kama submission ku bantu, isika mu Bill 7. Datine parliament according na submission nale mona no kumfwa. Naisa sangata submission ya bapokere ku bantu sayaba mu Bill 7. Submission ya saba mu Bill 7 ya da government dari tireyini. Ya isaba. So inena ito understand. Opo ba ota bapuna advise ba chairman. Therefore, apopena ba kundure. Because the submission to arrest directly. Haya bamu. Submission abantu bari almost 2,000 and 11,000 ya. Chamwe po ba ikara nomba bate nomba mo na submission abantu bari pera. Usheneza twara funyamu neza twara vikamu. Chamwe po ba ikara bapanga po fili. So therefore baona le po bando nzeko.
Mwansa, thanks a lot for calling. Honorable, you would like to respond to Mr. Mwansa there?
Well, yeah, it's good that Mr. Mwansa has raised that issue, because first of all, he is right in a sense that the Mushavati Technical Committee, the report is in the public domain, that the people did make additional proposals that were not considered. And the answer is simple, is because the constitutional amendment process in this context was restricted to the proposed amendments in Bill 7. But the people, of course, being a process, a process where you cannot restrict submissions, proposed additional things. And one of them that I saw prominent was cabinet outside parliament in the Mushavati technical report. However, in Bill 7, the objects of Bill 7 did not have anything to do with amending the composition of cabinet. Now, just to give him comfort, the Mushavati technical report has not been shelved. It stands there as a historic document, and just to appreciate the commissioners there. So the Constitution is a living document. Currently, the executive's priority was to be restricted within, the objects of Bill 7, to avoid, more of a wider, shopping list of amendments. Because you may wish to know that each amendment has implications which the ministry sponsoring the bill must be ready for the ramifications of those amendments if they pass. So he is right, and that some of the submissions to the Mushavati Technical Committee may not have been considered, but their submissions, the people's submissions within the objects of the constitutional amendment were considered, and that is what's very important for now. Yeah.
The question I asked you earlier around economic realities and what's prevailing, at the macro level.
Yes. So, Andrew, when you have a situation as Zambia was, 2021, where debt-strapped, need for debt restructuring. From there, you're going to a drought. Obviously, the government the executive in this case, through its policy direction, has done a commendable job to address those issues. Now, the trickle-down effect, for me, is not a 24 hours issue. Obviously, while inflation is at single digits today, you've seen the fluctuations, and I feel that once the macro indicators reach a certain level of consistent stability, eventually the, households, the microeconomics, but when you look at some basic things, goods, basic commodities, prices have started going down. I've seen that. If you're going to import a vehicle in USD, you have a favorable exchange rate. So that's a basic indicator that's there. The cost of fuel, if we maintain the peace in the Middle East, obviously the government has done a commendable job in it. So it is a very subjective statement to say that it's not trickling down. It may not be trickling down as quicker, but it's already trickling down because, for example, trading between imports done in USD, that's an immediate trickle down because immediately your cost of doing business has gone down. It's an immediate thing, a drop down. So what I would agree with you is that it has generally not completely. Obviously, some people still feel the effects, and more so because of the energy crisis that we had. The small and medium businesses, had to transition to alternative energy. Sometimes you can't do some things with solar, so the cost of doing business kind of went up. So I think I agree with you that it's not completely. There are those complaints, but eventually it looks like we are getting there because, the indicators show there's sufficient evidence that, we're getting there.
With elections approaching in August, Honorable, from your perspective, how would you describe the current political atmosphere? And from your perspective again, what are the key issues that will shape voter decisions?
Well, the current political atmosphere appears very stable. Of course, like any other political situation, we can see a lot of political parties trying to figure out who will be the flag bearer for their political parties. So we're not seeing violence. Ultimately, I think the elections will be overall peaceful. What was your second question again?
My second question, on what issues you think will shape voter decisions?
Yeah. So I was running over time, sorry. So I think this time around there's no wind of change. At least that's how I feel. So
why is that?
Why is that? I don't know. Because obviously, perhaps as Zambians, from the history of our politics, we judge based on credibility of the government. Now, I want to make one statement. This election, there will be a lot of scrutiny, not at party level, but at candidature level. That's my feeling. That apart from the party or the various individual political parties, individuals will be heavily scrutinized in their personal level, with their ability to deliver or with what they've delivered. Why will there be increased scrutiny of candidates? Is because there's generally no credible option to what is available.
Are you being serious?
That's what I feel. I mean, what is the option from free education? Is anyone giving a better policy?
You don't see it. You don't see the Tonsi Alliance a threat. You don't see Harry Kalava a threat. You don't see Comrades Freddie Membe a threat.
Well, look, the PNUP, which I'm a member of, is part of the UPND Alliance, and I think now, if we have policy discussions, have you noticed? And I want to find out from both you, Cheswa, have you noticed that there is no political party that is having a policy discussion? They are just politicking. Is anyone proposing an alternative model from having 40 million CDF being sent to constituencies? Is anyone giving an alternative policy? I've not heard any, because Andrew, in 2021, the political discourse was a policy issue. We had conversations that Zambia is in debt, it needs to be restructured. We had conversations of the fight against corruption. So currently, for our colleagues, our brothers, it's good to have divergent views, but let's have a policy discussion. What are we going to do for the young people, for example, that are almost over 70%? There's no one talking about that.
Let's pick a second caller from Samuel Banda calling us from Eastern Province. Mr. Banda, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well. How are you doing? How is Eastern Province?
I'm fine, Cinda. I want a proper teacher who can teach me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
My question is this. 2022 debt restructuring. 2023 debt restructuring. 2024 debt restructuring. 2025 debt restructuring. I thought the money that Zambia was making was supposed to ease the lives of a common man like me here in the hills. Where does the little income that we have been debt restructuring going to? Who has been eating this money that we have not been paying for the debt? I need someone to educate me, especially Honorable there, if you can help me. Did you get my question?
Yes, Mr. Banda, we did get your question.
I thank you so much. If somebody can teach me, because this debt restructuring, as if it will continue and unborn people will pay for that. But the little that I have been seeing copper crossing through Cinda going to the port, but where is the money going?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable, would you like to respond to that?
With pleasure. With pleasure, and thank you very much. Look, Andrew, before debt restructuring, we did not have free education. So all the schools in this country are receiving school grants. The parents are no longer paying for the government schools.
Yep.
And the government is paying school grants for the schools to manage things like chalk and so on. That is where the money is going, to answer this question, to attend to priority sectors that would, grow the economy. You've had unprecedented recruitment, 44,000, another 11,000 in the health and education sector. That is where the money is going. You didn't have that recruitment. When the country was at the peak of borrowing, there was no free education. There was no increased CDF. You have an enhanced school feeding program. It's happening. I was in Nalolo the other time, just a fortnight ago. There is a school feeding program that's happening, an enhanced one. That is where the money is going. Right now, there's an additional recruitment of health workers. So to attend to all these inequalities of 3 nurses in 1 ward, a bad teacher-pupil ratio, that is where the savings of debt restructuring are going.
Technically, the PNUP will not participate in these elections because you are in an alliance with the UPND at presidential level. I want to find out whether you participate at these other levels, at what level, at constituency level, but also I would like to find out what the terms of reference are of this alliance that you have with the UPND.
Okay, so the PNUP joined the UPND alliance on the premise of supporting President Hakainde Hichilema as a presidential candidate, and that the PNU president will not participate. An alliance, being what it is, has a working framework. So the participation of myself and other members of the PNUP, and of course the other people in the UPND alliance, will be within the framework of the alliance.
What is the framework of the alliance?
The framework of the alliance is consensus on how we should proceed. So we were not part of the UPND alliance in 2021, but the consensus then was that everyone participated under the UPND. So that's how we have Honorable Felix Mutati from the MDC, Honorable Charles Milubi from the ADD.
Well, those are nominated. I'm talking about elective positions. Will you contest on the UPND ticket, or probably you not contest and you want to be nominated? What's the plan with your political career?
No. I am contesting.
As UPND or PNUP?
Within the framework of the alliance. So let me explain to you. The alliance has a council of secretary generals, council of presidents. They have not yet sat down on how this participation will be at below the presidency.
What is your expectation with regards to the alliance? I mean, we see that in the alliance, the president does also appoint people from the alliance, either as PSs. We see what's happened with, Tabo Kawana and many others who have been appointed from the alliance, ministers, Tati among them. Do you have an expectation as Member of Parliament going into this election from the alliance?
Well, my expectation is to serve where I'm called to serve in an elective position. That is a given, because I will participate in elections, and whatever is available. But you see, let me be clear that, when I chose public service, in 2021, when I chose to run for public service, my primary goal was to represent the people of Nalolo. Anything in addition to that is an advantage to the people I represent. So for me, I walked into Parliament with only one expectation, and that is to deliver to the people. So, of course, government is living. It functions every day. Various roles come in Parliament, anywhere. We are available to serve. I am available to serve.
If the alliance suggests that you leave the position to someone else and that you do not get adopted into the elections, would that be something you'd be acceptable to?
Well, it is not the alliance to decide, on its own. It is also what are the people in Nalolo saying. I've gone around the constituency. The people in Nalolo are saying, you must continue the work. So, so far, within the framework of the alliance, I'm confident. I'm confident that there will be no stalemate on proceeding on this governance journey. So, within the framework of the alliance, I'll be on the ballot.
I'd like to engage you on this conversation. Do you ever think of becoming president of this country one day?
That's an interesting question. Without missing my words, Andrew, I'll place one thing on record, is that I feel that public service should be driven by the people. And if my performance or my service to the people escalates beyond where I am, that would be a sacred calling that I would gladly take.
Have you ever thought of it?
I've entertained the thought before several times, and yeah, I have.
Honorable Imanga, thank you so much for making the time to appear on tonight's edition of Diamond Live.
Yes, thank you.
Hope to play this interview years after and remind you that this is what you had said.
Of course. No, we pray that the will of God prevails and of the people. Thank you.
That is the voice of Nalolo lawmaker, Honorable Imanga. We're discussing an array of issues. We're discussing issues pertaining to the country's economy, also issues pertaining to the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 that is now law, and the process that led to it, especially that he was the chairman that was appointed to scrutinize the proposals that were coming from the members of the general public and of Parliament. On behalf of Cheswa Kapasa and our absentee presenter, Chumweka Chileshe, thank you so much for being a part of it. See you again on Wednesday at exactly 21:15. Good night for now.